All right, so let's talk a little bit about some more advanced things you can do in Adobe Premiere. So first off, right now, you can see that my clips are all pretty long, like 5 seconds. And what if I wanted to put a whole bunch of clips and make them all exactly, let's say I have some music and the beat of the music is every, 2 seconds. Um, so what I can do is select them all. And at the bottom here, you can zoom in and out by adjusting this bar, or you can hold down Alt and spin your mouse wheel. And now that I've selected them all, I'm going to right click on one of them and go to speed duration. Click on this thing that says ripple, and I'm going to make the duration 200, and there's colons that separate. So if you don't do this right, you might have to do it again. So just make sure it looks exactly like that, and then click OK. And if this is checked, then all of them will be now set to 2 seconds. You can see that they're all not the right size, and it'd be kind of tough to manually come in and adjust them. So what I'm going to do is select them all, right click, and go to scale to frame size. And now if I want to come in and still make adjustments, I can come in and say, okay, in effects controls, I'm going to set the scale and increase it to that so we don't have any black bars. If you don't see the effects controls, all over here, this button is going to be important. It's got all these different options. Just go into the effects, and then you should be able to see that button right there pop up. You also might need to come in and do some color adjustments from time to time, and if that's the case, these pictures are all pretty well color graded, but you can come into the color options on here, and you can adjust a really fast, easy way to do it is to go in and adjust these settings. So maybe it's like too blue or too red. It'll adjust that. I don't really see anything happening here. Tint balance. You can adjust the. Why is nothing happening? Oh, now it is. You can adjust the shadow tint as well and the highlight tint if you feel like you need to adjust that. And then if you go into the basic correction, sorry, that's what I was looking for. You can adjust the temperature. That's probably the easiest thing. And these sliders right here, and just the exposure is a nice fast one if you want to quickly darken it or lighten it up, contrast, etc. This waveform right here is actually pretty helpful, but I'm not going to get into exactly what that does just yet, but it has to do with basically wanting to try to get those waves to be relatively matching. But let's not worry about that. Okay. So yeah, that's color control. And then other than that, sometimes you're going to want to do captions and graphics. So you click on this tab, and you can drag one of these templates up, and then you just double click, and you can adjust what it says. Hello. And then you can come in and adjust the sliders for this font. I don't know why the box is not actually touching the font, but like the size and the tracking and all that stuff. So there we go. And you can see that that's animated. And if you want to make it shorter, you just shorten it or move it. And you can see that this is on top of the other track. You don't want to put it on the same one, otherwise it'll just replace it and go over black. So yeah, you can actually layer multiple tracks of video on top of each other if you wanted to. Other than that, I would say the only other thing that you probably want to play around with is the transitions. So if you want to have some fun with transitions, one easy way is just to select them all, go to sequence, and apply default transition, and that'll just put a cross dissolve in between them. But you want to get a little bit more creative with it. There are, in the effects panel, a bunch of different transitions under video transitions that you can play with, such as an iris, which looks like this. There's iris round. There's page peels, which if you put them between them, you can see it goes like that. There's slides. wipes. Let's just do a inset. And then there's some like more creative kind of fun ones, cross zoom. And the VR ones, they don't really, they're more, I don't know, they're for VR, but they actually can be kind of cool. I like this VR light rays one. Some kind of cool effects. And light leaks I like. A little bit more modern. And other than that, there's some motion stuff that we can kind of talk about later to make these so they're not still. But I think for now, this is probably a good starting point. These tools right here can also be very useful. When you're doing video editing, you do switch around to these tools a lot. This one is to kind of just push everything at once forward. This one is for video. You probably wouldn't need it. This is razor tool is just for cutting something in half. So now I can go back to the selection tool, the V, and delete that little section right there. Other than that, you probably shouldn't have to mess around with them too much. This hand is just for moving around, but there's really no reason to switch to that because you can just do the same thing with your scroll wheel or this little slider down here. Or just hit, yeah, I guess that's it. There's a text tool if you just wanted to type in your own text. But the preset ones are kind of nice because they already have like animations built into them. I will delete that. Okay, and then we'll talk about music as well in the future.